On this episode of Real Estate on the Rocks, we're going to talk about what not to do as a new agent.
Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
Like the man said, my name is Dave Snowberger. I'm joined in the studio today, as always, with my main man, Marshall Tucker.
What's going on, people?
Oh, nothing much. Hey, and we got James, the Butcher Mendez, is back in the studio today. The new guy. He's the new guy. He's the new guy, or he's the butcher. I like both of them. It's kind of like when a new rapper introduces himself, he's like, AKA this and AKA this.
He's a new butcher.
You know, he's the new butcher.
Somebody on Facebook, Thorough Conversation, I was responding to somebody else's question, and the guy chimes in. He's like, "What's up, new guy?" I was like, okay. He's like, "What's going on?"
The butcher. The man, I was cracking up this morning real quick. I was listening, actually. It's one of my podcasts ended and one of ours just started playing. But I guess you reran one Monday, and it was talking about the whole, what was that? Oh, the Halloween costumes of how you were going to go as the butcher. And I thought you should carry the soundboard with a big sign that says, "I forget to press record." I don't know why I thought that was so funny. I just thought it was hilarious. But, okay, we're back in the studio today. We're talking about what not to do as a new realtor, a new agent. These are the things not to do. Everybody talks about what to do to get business. This is going to help you along because we're gonna give you some shortcuts on the things not to do specifically. And number one with that, we're going to go ahead and take advice from average agents. Take advice from average agents. Do not do that. Why? Why would we not do that, Marsh?
Well, the first thing you ever told me was to stay out of the halls, and I asked you why, and you said because 87% of all these agents walking the halls are going to fail out within the next 2 years. And you will too if you take their advice.
Yeah.
So I never went out into the hall again.
I mean, that's mean. That's brutal. You know? I mean, that's brutal.
That would explain a lot. Because at our last office, we're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm working with these guys." They're like, "Who's that?" I was like, I had to describe you guys. And they're like, "Oh, yeah." So I met Dave, and
I didn't know anyone.
I think I saw Marshall walk back and forth.
Yeah,
like,
we keep our heads down.
I was like,
yeah.
"You didn't talk to them?" They're like, "No, they're just in the office all the time."
Yeah,
Coffee, bathroom, office.
Those guys are stuck up. It's like, no, those guys aren't stuck up. Those guys are busy people.
Like,
and,
what?
You know, it's like we go to the coffee machine. People want to tell me, "Oh, did you see, blah blah blah?" And I'm like, "No, man,
Well, people would stop by the office and we would look at them like they were crazy because they'd just stand there staring at us.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What do you need?" "Oh, nothing." Like, "Well, what's going on?" "Nothing." Like, "Oh, this is average for y'all, right? Did y'all just come by and stand around in people's rooms and just talk?"
Yeah, I deemed them the walkers.
This is weird.
Like those are the Walking Dead of the office, and so that's like I said, that's going to frustrate a few people, or like that's just mean. But I mean, there was no better way to explain it because all they would do is walk around and ask questions, and then they'll keep people that come into our office and ask advice.
I don't mind the real estate questions. It's the coming in there and just talking about whatever, shows on TV,
right?
What they ate for dinner.
Well, the real estate questions I didn't mind. However, I did mind that when they come in and talk to me and ask me a question and I start explaining it, they start telling me, "I know." "Oh, I know. Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. I do that. I know." Then why are you here asking me this question? Like just to hear yourself talk? Like just
validation, maybe?
Yeah, validation could be a good one. I mean,
you can lead off with that. Like, "Hey, I'm thinking this. Let me bounce this off you, just to validate where I'm at."
Yeah, I've done this in the past, and I know what I'm doing, but I want to ask you a question.
Make sure I'm on track. I don't know.
No worries, man. But it's hard to figure out people anyway. But you don't ask broke people for advice, right? You go to the top and you ask the top people. Not saying we're the top. However, we're going to go ahead and circumvent a few of these things that you don't go to some of these real estate forums out there. When I say forums, that sounds so old.
You don't ask broke people for advice or money.
Either. But you don't go into Facebook and you ask somebody in one of the big real estate groups, even in our group, somebody asked a question the other day about something and I thought they got poor advice from the person who gave it. So I just PM'd the person. I was like, "Hey, this is what we would do in that case. Like we've had the same situation." And a lot of situations we talk about or know about because we've been through them. We've done enough deals to know what we're doing. We've sold enough real estate to, offer a little bit of expertise. And if we don't know, we don't wing it.
Yeah.
We don't say what not, we don't just give them a bunch of advice to hear ourselves talk, which I appreciate from everybody, and it's just, I don't want to be known as the person that gave bad advice.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want
Where'd
to
you
be known
hear
as
that
that
crap
guy.
from?
Yeah.
Dave
Yeah.
Snowberger.
He's
They're like, oh, his podcast. Like, you should listen to this clown's podcast. He just sits there and rakes on agents that aren't making it and calls them walkers. It's like, so mean. Anyway, so number 2, don't pay for leads. We've touched on this one in the past. Don't pay for leads. I'm pretty passionate about that one because I did it. I came into the business and I paid for leads and I couldn't convert any of them because I didn't know how to convert them. So it was $700 a month I wasted on ZTR, which is Zillow Trulia Realtor leads, right? And so I sought advice from people and they were telling me to get leads, go out and just buy some, whatever else. And here's the thing about leads. Like, even when people make fun of agents, they're like, oh, he gets all his thing because he buys leads. You still have to be good enough to convert those leads. Like, I do have a little bit of respect for agents that at least convert the leads they buy at a high level, right? Yeah. And so I don't have tons of respect for people that just buy leads because they want to eliminate the tough work out of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
You know, the prospecting and possibly cold calling or texting or calling FSBOs or door knocking or doing open houses at a high level. They don't want to do that work. So they think the shortcut is this. And some people might have enough money to be able to quote unquote buy leads. However, if you don't know how to convert them, if you don't know how to have the conversations for them,
What's the point?
what's the point? Yeah, you're just you know, peeing away money.
You give it to me.
I always say, like, you know, I would have a lot more fun lighting my money on fire, you know, and just kind of like watching it burn. I'd probably get more clients.
Probably.
Because they would sit around and watch me burn $700 a month, you know, like literally throw it up in smoke. But prospecting is a part of the business. You know, I mean, you're not going to escape that.
There's also those, I think we talked about on the last podcast, there's free lead sources out there. So, you know, utilize some of those before trying to buy some.
Yeah. And if you want a list of those free lead sources, Marshall will be happy to text you back if you text Top Shelf to 88000. Just text Top Shelf to 8800. Typically what we do is we return the text and say, who are we speaking with and what's it about? Because we never know when people are listening to what podcast out there. They could be in episode number 5 or they could be episode 95. We don't know. So we kind of really want to specifically know what you're talking about. So we'll ask that question and really just engage you. And so if you have a question for us, just text Top Shelf at 88000. It's the easiest way to get any of the information we talk about or we offer up. Just had someone reach out to me about Craigslist ads. I did an episode, can't remember when that was, about Craigslist ads. We know how to do them at a high level, get our phone ringing from Craigslist ads. So he wants some help. So after the podcast today recording, I'll reach out to him. He's in Las Vegas. He's an EXP agent, and we can go from there. He's got an easy street because he's got the free version of KV Core, which has the Craigslist feature in it, which you press one button and it will cycle through and post Craigslist for you.
It happens so fast. That thing's like looks like a shutter on a camera. Just
that thing was.
And then you're there.
Marshall was talking about it. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So I did it and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, this is cool because it just does all this quick work for you and you're done. Yeah. You know, and the original or it has unique text codes on them, right? You can program in. Mm-hmm. So
automatically programmed.
Yeah, we'll get that to that later.
It's great for Craigslist.
We're losing people. Bring it back. Number 3, giving up too soon. Never give up too soon.
Don't expect immediate results.
Yeah, and not in real estate. You know, you need to be dedicated for the minimum of 2 years. 2 years as a new agent. 2 more years as a returning agent. As a returning agent to the business, you've got maybe some shortcuts, but the business has changed and it's always changing. If you've been out of the market for 5 to 10 years and you're re-entering back into it, the ball game's changed. On a lot of the marketing stuff or, you know, the prospecting based stuff. However, relationships are really still where it's all at. So if you revert back to like how you used to run relationships or how you used to get to know people and get them to know, like, and trust you, more than likely you can get back in the swing of things faster than a new agent just coming in newly licensed, right?
Yeah.
Right, guys. Right, I'm looking for that validation now. You guys turned into walkers on me.
At the same time.
You guys turned into walkers on me.
No, that's going to be your best bet because you're not fighting the uphill current of constantly going after the low-hanging fruit, the easy turnover, the contracts. You're going after the long-term relationships, which builds your business for the long-term gain and growth.
Yeah, and with that, you just need to really kind of create habits is what we always talk about. You know, I mean, I know that I've put myself in there's habits that I don't even notice that I do anymore when I walk in and I have prospecting on my mind or I have, basically my just day-to-day operations. And there's people around me say like, Nicole, like why do you need to be there at 9? I was like, because that's my time I start. If I show up at 9:15 or 9:30 or 9:45, my day's off. It's the same thing at home. I mean, I wake up at 5:40 every morning. I go to Orange Theory pretty much every morning. I get home and I have my cup of coffee every morning at the same time. And then, it goes from there. I shower pretty much at the same time. I listen to the same or rotate through 4 or 5 different podcasts, while I'm in the shower and getting ready and whatever else. And I've just got a system down. I feed the dogs. I've just got my system every single day. Well, I drag that into work with me. Yeah. And usually right about noon or 1 o'clock is when it just becomes really a free-for-all. Like I'm no longer on a schedule. It's just kind of what has my schedule produced for me that day. Right. Yeah. So now it's time to go on appointments. Now it's time to, mastermind a little bit with some other people that I know, sit around and bring everybody into the group and go to our laptops and start looking for new creative topics for the podcast or new ways to lead generate or the success we're having. We talk about our wins all week long. There's a lot of things that we do. So let's jump into number 4 right here is not dedicating yourself to the business. I don't think enough people coming into the business know they need to dedicate. This is a craft. You need to be professional. I know that you and I just had a similar conversation about this a little while ago that got a little bit uncomfortable. However, it's really about being professional. It's some people have more of a lackadaisical approach at this, and that shows in their results, I think. If you come at real estate and you're just going to half-heartedly have that flexible schedule and think you're going to make an unlimited income potential or have unlimited income, I can't talk today. The marbles in the mouth. Unlimited income potential.
I wonder who came up with that marketing idea of the flexible schedule and unlimited income potential. Because it's kind of vaguely accurate, but not realistic for the vast majority of people. Certainly not in the first 3 years for the 98% of agents.
Yeah. You can have that, but while you're in here, it is a great sales pitch for the
recruiting portion,
for recruiting, for the schools to get their licenses, for everybody to get their money all the way up the top from
industry wide to get people in,
right? Yeah. So because it doesn't exist in my world. I do get, fortunately, I think we all do get to take weekends off pretty much. And then we work some open houses here and there. Some of us work open houses more than the others. It's just really how you want to treat your business. But, the Monday through Friday is pretty much unbreakable for us. We need to be in here. And so our flexible schedule is that if we work our asses off between Monday and Friday, that typically if we don't have any showings on the weekend, we can take the weekend with our families or whatever else, and so, realize what you're doing. Know the market really is what I'm saying is know your market, know the contracts, know the addendums, know the amendments, know the differences between the things, know the differences between neighborhoods, know the different tax rates in your area, know the different, the market stats are huge. Around here in Austin, Texas, we can have one neighborhood that, pretty much has 0 days on the market and sells off coming soon. Or you can have one across the street that sits for 150 days is the average over there. And it's just a matter of what side of the street it lays on sometimes here. And I'm sure, it's not different from around the U.S.
No,
I'm sure it's just similar. Like that in other places. So, know these things. Know when people ask you questions. We could probably over here on this side, we're going to keep spinning our wheels and we'll be in multiple offer every time. This might not be, this neighborhood's more of say a status symbol versus the other side of the street is not necessarily a status symbol, but it's still a great place to live. You still get the same school. You still get all this other stuff.
Yeah.
If you want one of these older homes over here, if you want one of the newer homes over here, over here, we're going to have to probably dig into our pockets a little bit more and pull out more cash, right?
Yeah.
And so over here, we can probably get the homes for right about the asking price or even under a little bit, and that's how vastly different it is between the neighborhoods here around in Austin. And I only know really the Austin surrounding area. So, but you can know that too if you're the market expert, right? So if you go out and learn all these things and you treat this as a craft, of course, you'll know this stuff. And so if you dedicate yourself to the business, you will get 100% out of it. Everything you put into it, you'll get back in knowledge. And so, it's that whole thing of practice. Well, that's part of practicing. Is knowing everything in the market, is knowing your contracts. Practice your contracts. Marshall, yes, I see your hand up.
I was like, you can know everything in the world, but if you're not communicating it with the other agent or with your clients, then it's a moot point anyway. So communication.
Right.
Pick up the phone, call your clients,
Right.
pick up the phone, call the agent, pick up the phone, call the lender, find out all those questions that you need to know so you can be the professional.
Yeah, of course. And you won't know those questions until you ask more questions. You know, I mean, one of the best things you can do when you come into the business, I'm trying to revert back to when I came into the business. And, you know, at first.
Long time ago.
It wasn't that long ago, but, you know, it wasn't a long time ago. And a far
Before my hair was gray.
Yeah.
6 months ago.
Before my beard was gray, for sure. But, you know, going into the business, I just surrounded myself with the top producers in the company. I just found out who, it's kind of like the prison analogy, right? It's like you go in and you need to be tough. You just go find out who's the baddest mofo in prison, and you go up to him and punch him square in the face.
You know, Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart just popped in my head.
And so, yeah, it's the same thing as you go surround yourself with the best person out there, and you set your sights on all their goals. And if they're the number one listing agent, you need to set your souls on becoming, or not your soul, but your sights on becoming the number one listing agent. You know, and I mean, that's exactly what I did. Was, you know, one day I'm going to beat pants off all these people. You know, and I'm very competitive. You know, I don't know if I've met anybody as competitive me in the business, or that shows it as much as I do. However, it's like there's a listing competition, and whoever gets the most signed listings that are actually turned into the broker and actually legitly signed wins a cruise. You know, for a 7-day cruise, whatever else. So like, boom, I'm on it. You know, and I did great. You know, but I didn't beat somebody that lists builders. You know, somebody lists builders at a high level, and they had like 40 listings, and I had 18 or 19, you know, and I was just kind of like crushed. But then I was like, wait, I have 18 listings. I mean, I have like $155,000 worth of commissions that are going to be coming in.
Take my own cruise.
I can afford a boat. I'll just buy a boat. But yeah, so those are the things not to do. Today's going to be a quick episode. Marshall, got anything to add to this stuff?
Just on negotiation, I think one of the other things you told me before was learn when not to talk. So sometimes not speaking is more powerful than speaking. So you just sit there and listen. It might get a little uncomfortable, but just hold your ground and don't say anything until the other person speaks.
Yeah, that's great advice. You know, and especially in sales
and they
world,
give you everything you wanted, you know, and you didn't even have to say anything.
Yeah, sales world, you just be quiet. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, that's
awkward silence is a killer for people.
Yeah, especially in this podcast when you guys do it to me. Like when I'm seeking validation, I'm like, right, guys, and you're both
I'm
texting.
like, a little bit longer, 2 seconds.
I know he's freaking out. He's about to lose it on me.
Got him.
So that is it for the day. So let's talk about some success you just had real quick with a home you were selling that the lender had to save on this one. Marshall, let's bring up that example.
Which one?
Real quick. Royal.
Oh, Royal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this should have been an easy one. It was a lender referral, you know, and though the price point was a little bit lower than I like, you know, it's always competitive when you have a lower price point. It was also a mobile home, you know, so how hard can this be? I've never sold a mobile home, but it should be just as easy as selling a house, right?
Right.
Under 100,000. And all these problems kept coming up. It was like whack-a-mole. And, you know, I had to keep asking questions and keep at it. The client was ready to give up several times, throwing the towel in, but just, you know, persistence, and kept asking the right questions, kept putting everything out there for the seller and the listing agent to see. And we were able to work through it. Multiple extensions of closings later, a title switch later, and here we are, closing tomorrow.
Right. How did you know how to do all that stuff?
Ask questions.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So, okay. Well, one of the things, Mike Harrell, I know Mike Harrell, and what I'm doing is I'm building into a little, you know, Mike Harrell
plug.
Yeah, plug. Well, not of the hat for helping you save the deal on this one. The guy's a tremendous lender.
He saves the deal quite often, yeah.
Yep. I think that's about number 7 or 8 this year. You know, and people are like, oh, we're just going to switch lenders. I was like, dude, if Mike Harrell can't do it, nobody can do it.
And the thing about Mike is when he's actually working to save your deal, he goes silent, radio silent. So
and I told you that. Yeah, I've had plenty of people. I've had agents call me and say, we demand answers now.
If you, if you don't freak out,
like,
give him some space, give him some time. You know, it's the lender who is, you know, calling you back and talking to you, who's not working on your problem.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny one time. I got lit up by this realtor, like, your lender's horrible, blah, 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 and this deal's going to fall apart and everything else, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, look, if my lender's not picking up your phone call, like, things are good, you know? And I mean, he's working hard right now. And sure enough, he calls me at 5. He's like, clear to close. And I'm like, what? No, not even an extension? Like, we don't have to do anything? He's like, no, we're clear to close. And I'm like, oh,
Of course,
damn.
when he drops by the office, it's always bad news, Mike, because it can only mean one thing.
Right.
Oh,
When you
here
talk
comes
real
Mike.
quick.
Like, that comes again. But he usually lays it down on what we need to do and spells it out. Like, if you guys want to keep this on track and to close on Thursday, you need to do these three things right here. And it's like, oh, that's going to frustrate the buyer. It's like, well, okay, well, these are the three things that need to happen. You know, and so when the buyer sits there and like, oh, I'm just gonna walk away. It's like, no, you don't need to walk away. Just do these three things, and then boom, we're done. We're on Thursday, right? So, with his expertise knowledge is pretty good. And when I say he can't do it, I just want to keep this in mind. It was like when I say if Mike can't do it, nobody can. A lot of times that just like relays over in the lending world that Mike might be a chop shop. He's with Guaranteed Rate. Like he's a Guaranteed Rate, one of the most reputable companies out there, you know? And so that's what is great about Mike is that he knows, I mean, based on his conversations he has with people, he can tell is how forthcoming they are. Like this one's probably going to be tough, but we can get it done. Or this one's just not going to be able to do it. You know, that we just can't get this done. Let's put them in a program to make them wait 3 months or so, and then we'll try again in 3 months. So you just had that happen too. Like Marshall has a lot of things happen, probably just because of the amount of buyers you work with. So you have a lot of things thrown at you, you know. So anyway, Mike Harrell, you can reach him at Magic Mike at 88000. You still crack up every time I say
Magic Mike.
yeah, Magic Mike. So that's about it for the day. Top Shelf agents, reach us at topshelf at 88000 if you need us. Just reach out. And then, of course, we're EXP agents. If you ever have any questions about EXP, we are the group to talk to. Call us. We can make it happen. See you next time.
I'm out.